On the outer edge of the Orion Spur, far from shining core worlds and galactic trade lanes, lay the agricultural planet Keros 9. It was not a place of heroes. It was a place of soil-stained hands, slow suns, and people who lived their lives measured in harvests rather than headlines. Elias Rowan liked it that way. He was a farmer, third generation, cultivating gene wheat and saltroot on a patch of land most spacers didn't even bother mapping correctly. His days began before dawn and ended when the twin moons rose. He spoke more to his crops than to people, and the galaxy barely noticed he existed. Until the night the sky screamed. Elias was repairing an irrigation drone when a streak of fire tore across the heavens and slammed into the far marshlands. The impact shook the ground hard enough to knock him onto his back. Alarms from the colony settlement began to wail in the distance. "Another pirate wreck," Elias muttered, brushing dirt from his jacket. Most folks would stay away. Crashes meant scavengers, radiation, sometimes things that didn't want to be found. But something gnawed at him. A sound. Not the echo of the crash, but a thin, broken cry carried by the wind. Against better judgment, Elias grabbed his medkit and old grav hauler and headed toward the smoke. The wreck was small, a single-pilot scout vessel of alien make, half submerged in the marsh. Its hull had split open like a wounded animal. Inside, tangled in torn harnesses and sparking conduits, lay a young alien girl. She wasn't human. Her skin shimmered faintly blue, patterned with bioluminescent veins. Two curved horns swept back from her temples, cracked and bleeding. Her eyes, when they fluttered open, were silver, wide with terror and pain. Elias froze. Aliens weren't unheard of, but this species. He recognized them dimly from old galactic broadcasts. Relians. Noble-born, high status. Rumored to see humans as barely civilized. She was dying. Her chest rose unevenly. Blood, dark and luminous, pooled beneath her. The ship's reactor whined, unstable. "Easy," Elias said softly, kneeling despite the warning voice in his head screaming, "Don't. You're safe. I think." He tried to speak. Whatever language she used came out as a choked whisper. Elias didn't understand her words, but he understood fear. Working fast, he cut her free, ignoring the burning sting of alien blood on his hands. He stabilized her wounds the only way he knew how. Field med foam, pressure wraps, and sheer stubborn refusal to let her die. He hauled her into the grav hauler just as the ship's core detonated behind them in a flash of green light. By morning, Elias Rowan had an alien girl resting in his farmhouse bed. Word spread fast. By the second day, officials from the colony arrived. By the third, off-world representatives followed. When they learned Elias had taken in an Aurelian, alive, reactions ranged from disbelief to ridicule. "A farmer," one administrator scoffed. "You expect us to believe you saved her." "She's probably bait," another said. "Or some political trick." Elias stood quietly as they argued over his kitchen table, boots muddy, voices sharp. He didn't care about galactic politics. He cared that the girl, who had begun calling herself Lyra through the translator implant, was still breathing. Lyra healed slowly. Aurelians were resilient, but the crash had nearly killed her. During long nights, she told Elias her story in fragments. She was not just any Aurelian. She was a stellar envoy, daughter of a powerful ruling house, sent to negotiate peace along the frontier. Pirates had ambushed her ship, intending to ransom her, or worse. They'd left her for dead when the engines failed. "I thought humans would finish me," she admitted one night, voice weak but sincere. "We are taught you are impulsive, dangerous." Elias smiled sadly. Some of us are. Most of us are just tired. When Lyra finally recovered enough to leave, Aurelian cruisers descended on Caros, 9 like falling stars. Soldiers in radiant armor secured the area. Officials returned, suddenly respectful, eyes shining with opportunity. They didn't look at Elias the same way anymore. The Aurelian delegation offered compensation, credits beyond anything Elias had ever imagined. Land grants, citizenship upgrades. Elias shook his head. I didn't save her for payment. That only made them mock him more behind his back. A fool, they whispered. A dirt farmer who doesn't know his own value. Lyra heard it all. When she boarded the Aurelian flagship, she took Elias's hands in hers. You showed me something, she said quietly. Not just kindness. Conviction. He shrugged. I just did what anyone should. She smiled. No. You did what few would. Weeks passed. Life returned to normal. Elias returned to his fields, to quiet days and quiet nights. He assumed the galaxy would forget him. Didn't. Months later, galactic networks exploded with news. The Aurelian High Council had convened an emergency session. Lyra had returned, not as a survivor but as a reformer. She revealed evidence of corruption within her own empire, ties between noble houses and pirate syndicates, proof that frontier worlds like Caros 9 had been deliberately neglected to maintain power imbalances. Her testimony shook the galaxy. And at the center of every broadcast was one recurring name. Elias Rowan. Human. Farmer. Lyra spoke openly of him. I was raised among palaces, she told the council. I believed power defined worth. But when I was broken, bleeding, and abandoned, it was not an emperor who saved me. It was a man who owned nothing but land and integrity. Trade alliances shifted. Policies changed. Frontier worlds gained representation. The Aurelian Empire began reforms that rippled across multiple star systems. And then came the final announcement. The Aurelian Council declared a new interstellar initiative, the Rowan Accords, guaranteeing aid and protection to undeveloped and agricultural worlds, with humans placed as equal partners rather than expendable labor. Those who once laughed fell silent. Officials who had mocked Elias now sought his endorsement. News crews begged for interviews. Politicians landed shuttles on his fields, trampling crops he'd spent years cultivating. Elias turned most of them away. When Lyra visited again, this time in ceremonial robes flanked by honor guards, she found him repairing the same old irrigation drone. You could leave, she said gently. You could live anywhere. He wiped grease from his hands. Someone's got to grow the food. She laughed. A real laugh, free and bright. The galaxy changed because of you. No, Elias said, meeting her eyes. It changed because you chose to speak. Lyra shook her head. I chose to speak because you showed me what one life is worth. They stood together as the sun dipped below the horizon, the fields glowing gold. The universe beyond was vast and loud and full of conflict. But here, in the quiet soil of Caros 9, something enduring had taken root. Years later, children across multiple species would learn the story. Not of a great general or a mighty conqueror, but of a simple farmer. A man who saw a dying alien girl not as an opportunity, not as a threat, but as a person. And because of that choice, the galaxy would never laugh at humanity the same way again.